Yeah, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey.
Let's start with a question that we don't always ask out loud. When it comes to our special education students, are we holding high expectations? Or are we unintentionally creating low ceilings? Because if we're being real, this is one of the most important conversations we can have in schools. And it's also one of the most uncomfortable. Every educator believes they care about students. Every educator wants students to succeed. But sometimes our beliefs about what students can do quietly shape what we expect them to do. And that's where the problem starts. Let me paint a picture. A student with an IEP walks into a classroom. Immediately, decisions are made, maybe without anyone saying it out loud. They might not be able to handle this level of work. Let's make it easier. Let's lower the task so they can be successful. Now, the intention is good. We want the student to feel successful. We want to support them. But here's the question. Are we supporting them or are we limiting them? Because there's a difference between scaffolding and lowering expectations. Scaffolding says, I believe you can get there, and I'm going to support you along the way. Lowering expectations says, I don't think you can get there, so I'm going to bring the target down. And over time, those lowered expectations become ceilings, invisible ceilings. Let's talk about what that looks like in real classrooms. A general education class is working on writing a paragraph. Students are expected to explain their thinking, use evidence, and connect ideas. But for a student with an IEP, they're given a completely different task. Just write one sentence. Now again, the intention may be support. But what message are we sending? We don't expect you to do what everyone else is doing. Now let's shift that. What if instead we said, you're still going to write a paragraph, but we're going to support you? Sentence starters, graphic organizers, teacher check-ins, peer support. Now the expectation stays high, but the support increases. That's the difference. Let's go to math. A class is working on multi-step problems. Students are solving, explaining, and justifying their answers. But a student with an IEP is given a single-step version, no explanation required. Again, we've lowered the ceiling. Instead, we could say, you're working on the same problem. But let's break it into steps. Let's talk through your thinking. Let's use a model or visual. Now the student is still engaging in grade level thinking. With support, that's access, not limitation. Let's be real for a moment. This is not easy work because supporting special education students requires intentional planning. It requires collaboration between general education and special education teachers. It requires time, strategy, and consistency. And sometimes it feels easier to just modify the task, to make it simpler, to reduce the demand, but we have to ask ourselves, at what cost? Because when we consistently lower expectations, students begin to internalize that. I can't do that. That's not for me. I'm not as capable. And over time, that belief becomes reality. Now let's shift to what high expectations actually look like. High expectations are not about making things harder. They're about maintaining the goal while adjusting the path. It sounds like I'm not lowering the standard. I'm supporting you to reach it. It looks like students engaging in grade level content with accommodations and scaffolds in place. It feels like students being challenged, but not overwhelmed, supported, but not limited. And here's the key. High expectations require high support. You cannot have one without the other. Let's talk about leadership for a moment, because this starts with us. As leaders, we have to ask, what are we reinforcing in our building? When we walk into classrooms, are we looking for compliance or are we looking for access? Are special education students engaged in the same learning? Or are they consistently doing something different? Are we asking, how are we supporting the student to reach the standard? Or are we lowering the standard for this student? Those are two very different questions. Let's talk about collaboration, because this cannot be done in isolation. General education teachers and special education teachers have to work together, not separately, not in silos. Together, planning lessons, discussing strategies, looking at student work. Because when that collaboration is strong, students benefit. When it's not, students fall through the cracks. And here's another piece. Language matters. How we talk about students matters. If we say, they can't do that, we've already set the ceiling. If we say, how can we help them get there? Now we've opened the door. That shift changes everything. Let's bring this back. This is not about perfection. This is about awareness. Because the truth is, we've all had moments where we lowered expectations without realizing it. But great educators reflect. They adjust. They grow. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Are we truly challenging our special education students? Or are we protecting them from the very growth they deserve? Because every student, regardless of label, deserves access to meaningful, rigorous learning. And when we combine high expectations with strong support, we don't just teach content. We build confidence. We build independence. We build belief. And that is what changes outcomes.
Yeah, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey.